Welcome, everyone. We're diving deep today into Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now.
Ah, yes, a classic.
It is, but I think it's more than just your typical self-help book.
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to try to figure out how to break free from, those mental loops we get stuck in thinking about the past and the future,
Right.
and hopefully discover how to experience a little more peace in the present moment.
Sounds good.
What's really interesting to me is how Tolle digs deep into our relationship with time,
Mm.
consciousness, and really the very nature of self.
It's true, you're right. It's not just a feel-good read.
No, definitely not.
It really challenges our understanding of reality
Yeah.
and how we experience it. It
Exactly.
goes way beyond just superficial mindfulness.
Right?
It asks us to really look at the ways we get stuck in these mental patterns that prevent us from truly living.
One of the first things that really grabbed me was
Yeah.
Tolle's concept of psychological time.
Okay.
He describes it as this constant back and forth between regretting the past and worrying about the future.
Yeah, I see that.
Like, constantly replaying that awkward conversation you had or
Yeah.
stressing about deadlines.
Totally.
It's like we're always somewhere other than the present moment.
It's so true. It's like our minds are always somewhere else. But
Yeah?
Tolle's point is that this psychological time is actually a false construct created by the mind.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it creates this sense of separation from the present moment,
Uh-huh.
which is really the only moment we truly have.
Right.
It's like we're constantly running on this treadmill,
Yeah.
chasing a future that never actually arrives,
Mm-hmm.
or, replaying a past that we can't change.
Yeah, and we have no control over that.
Exactly. And his point is that this mental habit,
Yeah.
this robs us of the only moment we truly have power over, which is right now.
The present.
Present, exactly.
That makes total sense. I know I find myself getting caught up in those thought loops all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And totally suggests that the ego, that voice in our heads, that plays a big role in keeping us trapped in this cycle of disconnection.
Absolutely. The ego thrives on identifying with our thoughts,
Right.
our emotions, and all the stories we tell ourselves about who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we're identifying with that voice,
Yeah.
we're constantly seeking happiness and external achievements or,
Oh, yeah.
dwelling on past experiences.
Yeah.
But it never really leads to any lasting fulfillment.
And I think that makes you wonder how much we miss out on by being so focused on the past or the future.
Right.
It's like we're always searching for something outside of ourselves,
Yes.
when really true contentment can only be found within.
Tolle uses this powerful analogy in the book.
Oh, I love his analogies.
They're really good.
Yeah.
This one, to illustrate this point,
Okay.
imagine someone is walking through this breathtaking landscape,
Uh-huh.
but they're so busy taking pictures on their phone,
To post later?
yes, to post online later, that they never actually stop to just experience the beauty of what's around them
Wow.
in that moment. Yeah.
They're so focused on capturing the experience for the future
Yeah.
that they completely miss the present.
I've totally done that.
I know, me too.
And I bet a lot of our listeners have as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So if this obsession with time keeps us from true fulfillment,
Okay.
how do we break free? How do we access this power of now that Tolle keeps talking about?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Well, he presents the present moment as a kind of portal to a different type of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not just talking about,
Right.
like a fleeting feeling of calm,
Yeah.
but a state of deep presence, peace,
Mhm.
and joy.
Okay. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
And he offers some really practical techniques to help us get there. I'm ready to hear about those. What are some of the things we can do to tap into this power of now?
One of the simplest yet most profound is focusing on the breath.
Yeah.
It's always there. It's like an anchor to the present moment.
That's true.
He also talks about becoming deeply aware of our surroundings.
Engaging fully in whatever we're doing, even if it seems really mundane.
So it's about bringing mindful attention to even the simplest activities.
Exactly.
So instead of, letting my mind run on autopilot while I'm washing dishes or
Yeah.
walking the dog,
Right.
I can use those moments as opportunities to tune into the present.
Exactly. It's about shifting our focus from that constant chatter of the mind
Right.
to the direct experience of what's happening right now.
I see.
And here's the paradox. By letting go of our attachment to the past and the future,
Okay.
we can actually experience life more fully.
That's a little counterintuitive.
I know it is.
You'd think holding on tight to your goals and your plans
Right.
would make life feel more meaningful, but Tolle's suggesting it's the opposite.
It really is, and it goes against so much of what our culture tells us. We're
Yeah.
constantly pushed to strive for more, to achieve, to plan.
Always planning ahead. Yeah.
But Tolle argues that all this striving actually often leads to more anxiety, not more fulfillment. Right.
True freedom comes from surrendering to what is.
Okay, surrender.
Surrender.
That's a key concept here. What does that actually mean in the context of Tolle's teachings?
Okay, so
It's not about giving up on your goals or your dreams, is it?
not at all, no.
Okay.
It's more about releasing this resistance to what is, to accepting the present moment without judgment.
Okay.
Like, think about it this way. When you fight against reality,
Yeah,
you just create suffering for yourself.
that's true.
Surrender isn't about giving up on what you want to achieve.
Right.
It's more about accepting the present moment as it is.
Okay.
So you can respond with clarity and wisdom.
So it's about choosing to work with reality instead of against it.
Exactly.
I like that. And Tolle also suggests that another key to unlocking the power of now is to understand and confront what he calls the pain body.
Yes. The pain body.
This is a big one.
It's a central concept.
Yeah.
He describes it as this accumulation of emotional pain,
Okay.
trauma, and negativity that we all carry with us. So almost like emotional baggage we carry from the past.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
Okay.
It's like the residue of all the hurts, fears, disappointments we've experienced.
And it sounds like that can be pretty powerful if we're not aware of it.
It can be incredibly powerful.
Wow.
And Tolle argues that the pain body actually feeds off our negative thoughts and reactions,
Oh, interesting.
keeping us stuck in these cycles of suffering.
So how do we deal with it? If it's this powerful force that keeps us stuck in negativity,
Yeah.
how do we even begin to address it?
Tolle's answer again is awareness.
Okay.
He says that becoming present and just observing our emotions without judgment can help us break free from its grip.
So you're saying that even negative experiences can be valuable if we approach them with presence,
Exactly.
that we can learn and grow from them instead of letting them control us.
It's not about denying or suppressing our emotions.
Right.
It's about changing our relationship to them.
Right. So how do we actually do that? How do we go from understanding these concepts to actually living in the now? That's what I'm really curious about.
Me too. That's a big question.
It is a big question. That's kind of the whole point, I think.
Yeah.
So we've got to figure that out.
We'll dive into that more after the break.
Sounds good. So how do we bridge that gap
Between
between the understanding and the actual practice?
Yeah. How do we make it real?
Exactly.
That's the big question.
It is.
Thankfully, Tolle gives us some real world guidance.
Okay, good.
It's not about, becoming some kind of Zen master meditating on a mountaintop.
Right.
Although that does sound kind of nice.
It does sound peaceful, but
It does.
it's not really practical for most of us.
Not for most of us, no. It's about finding ways to integrate mindfulness into our everyday lives.
So how do we make this power of now thing a reality in the midst of our busy and often chaotic lives?
Well, he suggests starting small.
Okay.
Remember that breath awareness we talked about?
Yeah.
It's something you can practice anytime, anywhere.
Right.
Like waiting in line at the grocery store, stuck in traffic.
Oh, traffic.
Take a few conscious breaths
Okay.
and just feel your body grounding in that present moment.
So it's like a mini reset button for your mind.
Exactly. It's like a little pause button, just to bring you back.
That's a good reminder, actually, because
Yeah.
it's so easy to get swept away by,
Totally.
those little moments of stress or impatience.
All the time, right?
Yes, especially in traffic.
Especially in traffic.
Think about your daily routines, like eating, showering, walking the dog,
Okay.
instead of letting your mind wander to your to-do list
Right.
or replaying that annoying conversation you had with your boss or whatever.
Ugh, I hate when that happens.
Try bringing your full attention to just the experience itself.
I like that.
Feel the water on your skin in the shower.
That's nice.
Taste each bite of food.
Yeah.
Notice the sounds and the smells around you.
Yeah, be present.
So it's about turning those ordinary moments into opportunities for mindfulness.
Yes.
Right? Instead of just going through the motions, we can use them as little reminders to come back to the present.
It's like creating little mindfulness anchors
I like that.
throughout your day.
Okay, mindfulness anchor.
Yeah, and remember that idea of surrender we discussed?
Surrender, yeah, that was a big one.
That can be a powerful tool in daily life, too.
Okay, how so?
Let's say you're stuck in a traffic jam.
Oh, there we go again.
Instead of getting all frustrated and tense,
Yeah.
you can practice surrendering to the situation.
Okay.
You can't control the traffic,
Unfortunately not.
but you can control how you react to it.
I can take a deep breath, accept that I'm going to be late, and maybe use the time to listen to a podcast or enjoy some music.
Exactly. Or you could practice gratitude.
Oh,
Be grateful that you have a comfortable car to sit in.
that's true.
Or some good music to listen to.
Right.
Just shifting your perspective can completely change your experience
I like that.
of that moment.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not about eliminating the stress or the challenges from our lives.
It's not, no.
It's about changing how we respond to them.
You got it.
Okay, so I actually tried this the other day
Oh, yeah.
with my partner.
Okay.
Instead of jumping in with,
Yeah.
my own thoughts and opinions while he was talking, I just focused on really listening to him.
Wow.
It was amazing how much closer it made us feel.
And what's really interesting is that this shift in perspective,
Yeah.
this ability to access the power of now, it can really transform our relationships.
So how does living in the now impact our relationships?
When we're truly present with someone,
Yeah.
we can drop all those mental stories and judgments that we usually carry around.
Right.
We stop focusing on how they're meeting our expectations
Oh, yeah.
or how they've wronged us in the past.
Yeah, yeah.
We simply see them, hear them, and connect with them in that moment.
That sounds really powerful, actually.
It is.
Imagine bringing that quality of presence into all your interactions.
Right.
With your partner, your children, your friends, even strangers you meet on the street.
It could really shift things, couldn't it?
Yeah, it would shift the whole dynamic.
The whole dynamic, yeah.
Sure, sure.
And here's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
Tolle suggests that this shift in consciousness,
Mm.
this move toward presence,
Yeah.
it's not just a nice idea,
Okay.
it's actually essential for the evolution of humanity.
Okay, so now we're talking big picture stuff.
Big picture stuff.
What does he mean by that?
He argues that our current state of consciousness,
Okay.
this constant preoccupation with the past and future,
Right.
is actually contributing to a lot of the problems we face in the world.
So, like, our collective obsession with time is actually harming the planet.
That's his proposition.
Wow.
When we're disconnected from the present moment,
Yeah,
we're more likely to act out of fear, greed, and separation.
makes sense.
We exploit others, we hoard resources. We make decisions that harm the environment
Yeah,
because we're not fully present to the consequences of our actions.
it's like we're sleepwalking through life.
And Tolle's message is like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
He's saying that a shift toward presence, toward living in the now,
Mm.
it's not just about individual happiness.
Okay.
It's about creating a more conscious, compassionate, and sustainable future for everyone.
This is a lot to take in.
And no, it's a lot.
But it's also incredibly inspiring. It feels like there's real hope in Tolle's message.
Oh, there is.
A call to action to wake up and create a better world.
And remember, this is not about achieving some perfect state of enlightenment.
Right.
It's about taking small steps each day
Okay.
to bring more awareness and presence into our lives.
I can do that.
It's about noticing when you get caught up in that mental chatter
Yeah.
and just gently guiding yourself back to this present moment.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. And it can start with that very first conscious breath.
That's a beautiful way to put it. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to keep
We
practicing.
just gotta keep showing up.
And speaking of journeys,
Okay.
there's one more aspect of Tolle's teachings I want to touch on.
Okay.
And it relates to a topic that many of us might find a bit uncomfortable.
Which is,
Death.
death.
Yeah.
It's definitely a subject that can bring up a lot of emotions for people.
Yeah, for sure.
But Tolle's perspective on death is anything but morbid or depressing.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does contemplating death make us more present?
That's a great question, and we'll explore that right after this short break.
Yeah, I think a lot of us just try not to think about it too much.
It's understandable.
Push it away.
Yeah, it's scary.
So how does actually contemplating death help us live more fully right now?
Well, Tolle asks us to consider this. If we knew we only had a limited time left,
Okay.
how would we live differently?
Hmm.
Would we waste our time worrying about little things?
Probably that.
Would we hold on to grudges?
I think those things would seem pretty insignificant
Yeah.
if you knew your time was limited.
Exactly. And Tolle's point is that we do only have a limited time.
That's true.
None of us know how long we have on this earth.
Yeah.
So why wait for some kind of diagnosis or a near-death experience to wake up to how precious life actually is?
So it's about using the awareness of our own mortality as a catalyst
Yes,
for living more intentionally, or
exactly.
appreciating each moment as the gift it truly is.
Yeah, it's like that saying, live each day as if it were your last.
Right.
But really mean it, you know?
Yeah, really mean it.
And here's another powerful idea from Tolle.
Okay.
He suggests that our fear of death actually stems from our identification with the ego.
So if we can learn to let go of that ego,
Mm-hmm.
we can also let go of the fear of death.
That's the idea, he says, that when we realize that our true nature isn't this limited personality,
Okay.
but something much, much bigger,
Yeah.
something connected to the source of life itself.
Wow. That's a completely different way of looking at it.
It is.
It's not about denying death or fearing it,
No.
but about understanding it as a part of a larger cycle,
Yeah.
a natural part of life.
Exactly.
And in that understanding, we can find a profound sense of peace,
Yes.
even in the face of the unknown.
Even in the face of the unknown.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
We've covered so much ground today.
We have. We've been all over the place.
From the tyranny of time to the power of now,
It's true.
from the pain body to this incredible new perspective on death.
It's been quite a journey.
What's the one key takeaway you hope listeners will carry with them from our deep dive into the power of now?
You know, for me, it goes back to that quote we mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah.
You are not the voice in your mind, but the one who is aware of it.
That's a good one.
It's the heart of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we're not our thoughts.
Right.
We're not our emotions.
Mm.
We're not our past experiences.
We are.
We are the awareness that can observe all those things.
Yeah.
And in that awareness, we find true freedom.
And that freedom allows us to step into the power of now,
Yes.
to fully embrace the present moment as the only moment we truly have.
And as you go about your day, remember to just take those conscious breaths.
Good reminder.
Savor the simple things. Connect with others from a place of presence.
Yes.
And above all, remember, you are not your mind.
Love that.
You are the awareness that can choose peace, joy, and freedom in this very moment.
Beautiful. That's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
As Tolle reminds us, life is now there. There was never a time when your life was not now, nor will there ever be.
So true.
So let's make the most of this precious now.
Yes, let's do that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of now.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep embracing the present moment.